August. What a beautiful month this was. I celebrated my birthday, I enjoyed the sun, and most importantly, and why you clicked on this video, I read some books. August was a varied month reading wise. These are all the genres that I've read this month. I've read a total of 2,740 pages. My average rating this month was a whopping 4.35. I genuinely read some amazing books last month, so let's go through them in order of which I read them. I started off the month by reading Good Girl, Bad Blood. This is a continuation in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. I read that book a few months back and really enjoyed my time reading. The Good Girl's Guide to Murder follows Pip, who is investigating a murder that happened a few years prior. The case is closed, but Pip feels there is something still off. So, for a school project, she puts on her detective hat and starts investigating and uncovering some truths that have been hidden for a very long time. In Good Girl, Bad Blood, Pip has started a podcast to talk about the events that happened in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. She has sworn to leave her detective days behind as it got her into more danger than she initially thought. But as someone in town goes missing and a friend comes begging Pip for help, she's forced to get her trusted recorder out once again. Good Girl, Bad Blood was a sequel that really grabbed me from start to finish. In both the books, I really enjoyed the mixed media that was sprinkled in, and I mean mixed media in the sense that we get some interviews, maybe some pictures, maybe some maps, and that gives the book some really nice pacing. I really enjoyed the plot in this book. I liked that it was somewhat unexpected but not completely out of left field. Some parts you are able to pick up, but other parts just keep building and building and building. All in all, it was a very enjoyable read that had me very hooked from start to finish, so I rated it a 4.25. Next up, we have my first 5-star read of the month. And yes, you heard that correctly, there is more than one 5-star this month. The book I'm talking about is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This book follows Sadie and Sam through the span of their lives in a then and now timeline. They got to know each other when they were kids and they bonded over the fact that they both loved video games. As they grew older and met each other later in life, they decided to start building a game together. This book follows them before, during, and after the building of that set game. This book is really just a masterful character study of two people just living life. It encompasses the good, the bad, the beautiful times and the ugly times. It portrays friendship, love, personal struggles and so much more. This book had me so sucked in that it ended up being the first book that I ever annotated. After finishing Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, I have often thought about Sam and Sadie. I've gone back to some of my annotations and this book has just really stuck with me. It made me cry, it made me laugh, it made me think, and that is all I really want from a book. Something that just makes me feel all kinds of emotions, and this book has definitely done that. So a well-deserved 5-star read, which I highly recommend you read as well. After that roller coaster of emotions, I needed something that I could just binge and finish in one sitting. And that is exactly what I did with Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the second book in the Natural series, and the first book pleasantly surprised me, so it was only right to buy the whole series and just devour it. The Naturals book follows Cassie as she gets recruited by the FBI for her profiling skills. Cassie is a natural profiler. She can step into someone's shoes just by looking at a situation. In the Naturals program, she meets 4 other teenagers that have been recruited for their respective talents. In this program, they're meant to study cold cases, but Cassie overhears talk about a current case the FBI is working on, and her curiosity spikes when she notices that it hits particularly close to home. Killer Instinct is the sequel where a whole new case is demanding their attention. I had a really good time with this book. As I mentioned, I binged it in one sitting, and I love it when books make me do that. Because it's a YA mystery thriller, it's also fairly easy to read. The mystery was actually really interesting, and the plot kept me guessing to the last pages. I rated it 4.25 stars as it was very enjoyable, but not a book I will constantly think about. Still, I highly recommend you pick up this book if you enjoy mysteries and thrillers. Don't be scared away by the fact that it's YA, because I really enjoyed this more than some adult thrillers that I've read before. The next book that I've read is one that I've not read any other alike, and I'm talking about The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arigawa. In this story, we follow Nana. Nana is a stray cat that has been taken in by Satoru. You are following them on their travels across Japan, visiting 3 of Satoru's lifetime friends. This book just takes you on a journey into finding the meaning behind gratitude, courage, loyalty, and love. Traveling Cat Chronicles to me is funny where it wants to be and heart-wrenching where it needed to be. It's a story of love between a cat and its owner and of friendships that last a lifetime. I really enjoyed the past and present timeline as you started to learn more and more about Satoru's journey whilst also connecting to the friends that we meet. This was just a beautiful story about life and it had me tearing up quite a few times whilst reading it. If it was not clear how much I enjoyed this book, then I'm very happy to tell you that this was my second 5-star read this month. I would highly recommend you pick this up if you ever get the chance. After reading a book that had my emotions all over the place, I decided to pick up a fantasy, which is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. This story follows Elspeth, a woman with a secret hiding in her head. It takes place in Blunder, a town plagued by mists that kill. Magic in this town is banned. The only legal way to practice magic is through these playing cards that were made by the Shepherd's King. Each of these cards have a use, but to create balance, usage of this card will come at a cost. When kids in this town get the infection that will cause them to get magic, they will need to be reported to the king, who will then in turn rid of them. Elspeth, our protagonist, caught the infection as a kid, but she's managed to stay undetected as she does not appear to have any magic at all, just this darkness looming in her head. To cure herself, she only needs to do one thing: complete the deck of cards to cure the town of its plague. Now, she does not have to do this alone, as there is a certain someone who wants the same thing as her. I thoroughly enjoyed this book, and I'm really impressed that this is a debut novel. I think that the magic system is really interesting. The playing cards really intrigued me, as well as the fact that every positive had a negative polar effect. The characters in this book seem really well fleshed out, and the plot had me very curious as to what is going to happen in the second book of this duology. I also really liked Raven as a companion / romantic interest. All in all, it was a really great read. It went by really fast. It only just missed that 5-star feeling for me. So therefore, I am landing on a 4.5 stars for One Dark Window. The next book was a little bit of a letdown for me, as I have really enjoyed some other books by this author. I'm talking about People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I recently read Book Lovers and Happy Place, which I really adored, yet I found this book a little bit difficult to get into. This book follows Poppy and Alex. They have seemingly nothing in common, yet they are the bestest of friends. Throughout the years, they've always gone on a summer trip together, regardless of the circumstances. Yet 2 years ago, something happened and they're not on speaking terms anymore. Meanwhile, Poppy has made all her dreams come true. She has her dream job, her dream apartment, and she gets to travel all the time. Yet she's stuck. Thinking about life, she thinks back on when she was at her happiest, and all these memories turned out to be on their summer trips together with Alex. So she decides to convince Alex to go on one last summer trip, to even the playing field, to talk everything out, which to her surprise, he accepts. People We Meet on Vacation has a then and now timeline, which I am a really big fan of. It gives me more context as to why characters do certain things and what made them to who they are now. And that is the aspect that I really did enjoy about this book. I think, however, for me, I just couldn't really connect with the main characters, which is fairly important if you're reading a romance novel. I still really adore Emily Henry's writing, and I am very excited to read Beach Read and Funny Story. However, this one was just a little bit of a miss for me, so I ended up giving this book a 3.5 stars, but I still highly recommend, because I think this was just a personal thing for me that I couldn't connect with them, but they might still be a really good read for you. Most recently, I finished The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The Great Gatsby is a fairly short classic. It's about 180 pages, if I remember correctly, and therefore it is quite digestible. I thought this book was written well, but it took me a little bit of time, about 40 pages, to get into the writing, since it's written in the 1920s and it uses a little bit of different words and slangs that we use nowadays. I really enjoyed in this book that the characters really portray the American dream, but I would have loved it if Mr. Fitzgerald also kind of delved into the other side of that. I think that would have made it even better than it is right now. I think it's a classic that everyone should read at one point in their life, and I am really happy to say that I've done that. I ended up rating this book 4 stars, and now I'm really excited to watch the movie now that I know what it was based off of. Lastly, I read Super Communicators by Charles Duhigg. This is a book about communication and taking control in conversations whilst learning how to navigate the outcome of the conversation. I took some valuable lessons from this book that helped me better understand the question, why am I participating in this conversation? What do I want to get out of this conversation? And that really in turn then helped me with some of my conversations at work. I think this is a really interesting book. It could help someone that is trying to navigate or trying to further their communication skills and getting the most out of the conversations that they have. You can apply this to work life, but also to personal life, whatever you feel like you need help with. I think it's a good read if you are wanting to learn more about communications and the inner workings of conversations. I don't rate nonfiction, so I didn't give this a rating, but I recommend if you're interested in any of those topics. And then lastly, I want to give a honorable mention to Babel, which is the book that I'm currently reading. You will find my thoughts of this in next month's reading wrap up. I will probably be finishing this before the end of the month, but not before filming this. So you will see this next month. So far I am really enjoying this, but I will tell you more in detail all my thoughts and feelings in September's wrap up. That is all for today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed your time here and want to see more videos like these, a link should pop up now. If you'd be so kind, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe if you like books and book related content. Thank you so much again, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.